Welcome to this episode of our program, Daily Debate. Tonight is a very special episode dedicated to celebrations that are taking place in Egypt. Egypt is a country of culture, tolerance and coexistence. Love, peace and tolerance are the key messages from Egypt to the whole world. We're speaking here about a country in which Islam and Christianity both are sending those words, the words of peace, the words of tolerance, the words of coexistence, peace to the whole world from the land of peace, from Egypt. Tonight we'll be speaking about that while we are celebrating the Mass of, or the Christmas Mass together. And we are sending those beautiful messages from here to the whole world. We are here representing a role model, a real role model for living together, for coherence, for tolerance, for coexistence, for all the beautiful words Egypt is truly sending from here. Also, this is very much represented from the Egyptian family house, which was established a few years ago, and is part of the efforts with all its distinguished, very distinguished members, working all together to preserve the fabric of the Muslim-Christian unity within the Egyptian society by reaffirming the noble values and common characteristics between the various religions and cultures, also to establish a new discourse that caters to the needs of the society as a pillar to moral and education, and to encourage peace, the rejection of hatred and violence, while promoting the image of the vivid role model of tolerance, promoting Egypt, promoting the real essence of Egypt. We'll be speaking about that tonight with our distinguished guest, Sheikh Dr. Hossam El Deen Allam, lecturer at Al-Azhar University, and we thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me, and it's always a pleasure to be here. And Happy New Year to all our fellow Egyptian Christians and all our dear viewers across the globe.
Thank you so much, and indeed, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas to all Egyptians. Before we move on, before we delve into our discussion, let's first have a quick look on the top stories. And marking Christmas, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi attended the Christmas Mass at the cathedral in new administrative capital on Thursday, which was led by Pope Tawadros II, Pope of Alexandria and the Patriarch of the Holy Apostolic See of St. Mark. The President wished all worshippers a Merry Christmas and hailed unity among Egyptian citizens, stressing that this is the way for the new republic, pointing out that Egypt is the land of all religions. President Sisi also asserted his full appreciation to Pope Tawadros, hailing the pontiff's key role in many difficult situations. Earlier, the head of state extended greetings to the Egyptian expats, wishing them Merry Christmas. According to an Orthodox Church spokesman, the Christmas Mass was held with 25% attendance capacity, and that all precautionary measures were taken to protect attendees from the coronavirus. President Sisi also sent a congratulatory cable to Pope Tawadros II on the holy occasion, expressing sincere wishes and prosperity and welfare.
تتسع لنا كلنا بدون أي فرق أو تمييز للجميع، نعيش فيها بسلام وأمان مع بعض. وخلي بالكم، أنا بقول الكلام ده لكل الناس، لكل المصريين، مش لحد بعينه. اوعوا حد يدخل بينا، اوعوا حد يفتنا، لأن ده مش هينتهي. وكل ما هنكمل وهننجح
Right, welcome back. Also on Thursday, but earlier Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli greeted Pope Tawadros II, and during his visit to Al Abbasiyya Cathedral, the Prime Minister wished Pope Tawadros health and success. On his part, Pope Tawadros thanked Dr. Madbouli for his visit and wished the government success in its development path and wished Egypt more prosperity. Earlier, Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Dr. Ahmed Al-Tayyib, Minister of Religious Endowment, Mohammed Mukhtar Guma, also visited Al Abbasiyya Cathedral to congratulate the Pope on the occasion. Senior state officials also congratulated the Pope on the Christmas Eve. Right, before we continue on or start with our discussion to our topic tonight, let's first have this quick report and then we'll come back for more discussion.
President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi called on religious scholars in the country to confront electronic platforms spreading false ideas that distort the essence of Islam and exploit religion to achieve political goals through acts of terrorism. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Bassam Radi said that el-Sisi met the delegation participating in the international conference Fatwa Institutions in the Digital Age organized by the Egyptian Dar al-Ifta. The spokesman said that the president emphasized the need for the world's fatwa institutions to keep pace with digital developments, especially regarding social media, and address electronic platforms that broadcast ideas that could confuse the essence of the true Islamic religion. The meeting stressed the importance of correcting religious discourse at the level of individuals, groups, and countries. Ambassador Radi said that the head of state reviewed the important role played by ancient religious institutions in Egypt, represented by Dar al-Ifta, Al-Azhar al-Sharif, and the Ministry of Endowments. Radi referred to the mission as a fundamental task that would necessitate the combined efforts of all religious scholars, including muftis, imams, and preachers. At the opening of the conference, Shawqi Allam, Egypt's Grand Mufti, praised the moderate national religious institutions in Egypt for taking a strong stance and confronting the danger of extremism, which has caused great harm to the world and worked to invade young minds. He said that our jihad for the sake of God Almighty was to speak the truth, referencing the efforts to counter extremist ideology. Allam noted that the ministry has launched digital platforms and held continuous training programs.
Right, welcome back, and let me again welcome our distinguished guest, Dr. Hossam El Deen Allam, lecturer at Al-Azhar University. Thank you again for being with us.
Thanks so much again for having me, and again I'd like to reiterate my congratulatory message to all our fellow Christian Egyptians and all Christians celebrating around the globe.
Indeed, we are today celebrating all together the Christmas Eve.
Definitely.
And let me here ask you, ever since the president has assumed office, he has always been keen to attend at the very beginning or in the middle the Mass of the Christmas at its eve, alongside with the same with the Muslim celebrations together.
Yes.
He has been attending the Muslims and the Christian celebrations. What does this signify, and how does this reflect on the society?
Definitely, this is very reflective of Egypt's very clear stance on emphasizing the equality of all the members of the Egyptian society. All the citizens are equal, they enjoy full rights when it comes to freedom of belief, freedom of practice when it comes to one's belief. And this is reflective of this inclusivity when it comes to the stance of the Egyptian government, that there is no form of discrimination whatsoever. And this comes in line and in harmony with Egypt's strategic vision when it comes to human rights, which was recently publicized and disclosed. And I do think that it is very pioneering, because when you look at it, even from an international relations perspective, we do understand how important faith or religion is when it comes to maintaining the unity of the social fabric of any society. And of course, given the challenges that are facing nowadays, or that are confronting nowadays the entire region of the Middle East and beyond, when it comes to trying to sow seeds of division among the people,
Yes,
based on
indeed.
their faith, or based on their ethnicity even. So this is very important, and this reflects the awareness of the Egyptian government. And this was very clear in tonight's words and speech from President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, when he clearly stressed this point, that the people of Egypt themselves need to be alert and stay vigilant to any attempts of trying to implant any seeds of discord that would target the unity of the people of Egypt.
Indeed. So we come to the people of Egypt.
Yes.
And we're tonight celebrating all together the Christmas
Yes.
Eve. How does, or how do the world look at Egypt at this very particular day? How do we reflect the land of peace that we are living on?
Yeah, I have been part of many events myself that Al-Azhar has held in coordination with the church in Egypt, along also side with the World Council of Churches. I have been part of an international faith conference that brought together youth from Egypt, both Muslims and Christians, and also the same from many countries across the globe. And I can tell you how happy they were when they saw the mosque right in front of the other street, when it comes to many churches, including the cathedral here in Cairo and Abbasiyah. So this is to them was something quite unique and surprisingly shocking, how for them to see this togetherness of both places of worship. Here at one point you can see and hear the call to the prayer being raised, along maybe just a few minutes later on Sunday, and the other days you see the ring, hear and see the rings of the bell in the church. So this was quite unique, and this reflects how people see Egypt as quite distinctive in this regard when it comes to this cohesiveness on the social fabric of the Egyptian society, even not only on this level, but even on an academic level. When I was there, for example, attending, doing my master's in the UK and being part of many international conferences, this was always a key part of my presentation, to see and to show, to see this from their own eyes, and to emphasize the importance of presenting this very unique aspect about Egypt and the Egyptian identity and the Egyptian society of peaceful coexistence, which has lasted across the centuries. Even academically, you find always there is this intellectual curiosity to reflect on and to write about the church and the Al-Azhar in Egypt. And as you rightly mentioned, and it is really worth noting, Bayt al-Aila al-Masriya, or the house of the Egyptian family. And the house, it stands really as a unique and leading an institution, as an idea that shows how both Muslim scholars, alongside with their Christian counterparts, they can come together. They can come together not just for what may happen in other places across the globe, just to have some photos and that's it, but actually it shows that they have real work to do. they have real mission to accomplish. And you have seen how is it, for example, when it comes to the youth, there were many important initiatives,
Let me
and
hear,
societally as well.
let me hear, before going to the Egyptian family house, which is a great initiative, and in which participants are all very distinguished. We're speaking about Sheikh of Al-Azhar alongside with right now Pope Tawadros, but
And
it was
before,
initiated.
Pope Shenouda III,
Definitely, indeed. Before I go to this, people in the world would really ask themselves, why Egypt? And what is the grassroots and history between Egypt and religions? Because this coexistence is something that is not really happening in the whole world.
Yes.
So we really need to explain what exactly are the grassroots and why Egypt is chosen to be the cradle of not just civilization, but also religions.
And religious tolerance.
Indeed.
If we look into this from a historical lens, we can trace all the story back even from the time of Prophet Noah, and how is it Egypt itself being the word for it in Arabic is Misr. This is in reference to one of the names of the sons of Prophet Noah, which is Misriyam. So this is according to historical experts. There is a reason where the name is derived. In addition to this, we see Prophet Abraham being referred to as the father of all prophets, and we see the link of his own wife being here from Egypt, and this is why Egypt is, and the Egyptians are seen as the great uncles of all the people of the Arab world. So this sets the stage, and given how Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, also he, alongside with his noble and blessed mother, they came across Egypt and they sought refuge in Egypt. So all of these are components. When put together, we can actually acquire a better understanding of why Egypt is quite unique.
Yusuf also.
And Joseph, and of course, and many others.
Joseph.
Exactly.
Indeed.
So this is very reflective of the kind of spirit that permeates the relations between Muslims and Christians. And in this regard, we have a very heart-touching statement from Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, in which he states, "I am the closest of all prophets and messengers to Jesus, the son of Mary, as there is no prophet or messenger between me and him." So highlighting this key closeness even between the two messengers is very important and very substantial in shaping the relations between Muslims and Christians.
Remember the two presents Prophet Muhammad received from the ruler of
of Egypt back then, yes.
the mother of his own only
Yes,
male
son,
son,
yeah.
and another
Maria, yes, yeah.
yes, and another issue which was very much not known between the Arabs. Anyway, indeed, big relations between.
Definitely, and they are deeply rooted in history, yes.
Indeed. When we speak about the Holy Journey, since we are tonight celebrating the Christmas, so we're speaking here about a very important journey, the Holy Journey. It's very special.
Yes, it is.
And it's very special to the history of Egypt.
Definitely.
So would you please just shed light and illustrate on this?
And in recognition of the importance and the significance of the journey, Egypt now is doing its best to make sure that even this is a historical place now where Christians and all peoples from across the globe, they can come to Egypt and they can witness all these very important places. And this also reflects a very important message of how Egypt, across the centuries, has been a safe haven for all peace and security seekers. And it has always been a place where people can practice their faith or their religious affairs freely. So this is also quite unique when it comes to the history of Egypt and the quite distinctive features of Egypt, both as a country and as a great civilization.
Indeed. When we speak about Egypt as a role model, a role model for coexistence, for harmony, for tolerance, how do you view that, and what do you think are reasons that contributed to this kind of harmony?
Yeah, I'd like to cite here a very recent, pleasant incident where I was myself in the Cathedral Coptic Church here in Abbasiyah in Cairo, and I met Father Ibrahim Musa. He's the official spokesman and the director of the media center at the cathedral, and I noticed that when you enter in the main corridor that leads to his office and part of the whole center inside the cathedral, there is this photo that shows Christians protecting Egyptians while praying, and the same in the army or in whatever circumstances that they may be. So this was very powerful to see how this is highly appreciated on an official level. And also the idea that following the sorrowful incident of what happened in Alexandria in the Church of Al-Qudsiyin, it was the initiative of Al-Azhar to present the idea of establishing the House of the Egyptian Family, to make sure that there is a unified national stance against anything that would lead to the rise of such negative phenomenon or any incidents like this. So I mean, to nib in the bud any sort of misunderstanding that would lead to this, and even when it comes to the education of the young people and the youth and future generations. So all this again reflects a very firm stance of both the Egyptian government alongside with the people of Egypt themselves, to maintain this unity, to maintain this togetherness, and to always send a very clear message that the unity of the people of Egypt is definitely stronger than any malicious or any malintentioned schemes or agendas.
Right. Before we continue on with our discussion, Dr. Allam, let me here take another report, and then we'll come back to speak about the Egyptian house.
Okay.
Right.
In his speech on behalf of the Prime Minister during celebrating the 10th anniversary of founding the Egyptian Family House, Minister of Justice Omar Marwan said that the initiative of establishing this house came as a step to confront terrorism and extreme thoughts. He noted that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has affirmed in previous statements that preserving the unity of the Egyptian people is the only guarantee to keep country safe. The celebration of the 10th anniversary of founding the Egyptian Family House was held with the participation of Al-Azhar Grand Imam Sheikh Ahmad al-Tayyib and Pope Taudros II, the 118th Pope of Alexandria and Patriarch of the See of St. Mark, along with former President Adli Mansour. The ceremony held at Al-Azhar Convention Center in Nasr City started with playing the national anthem. The Egyptian Family House is an initiative that represents a model of religious coexistence. The Egyptian Family House was first conceived by the Grand Sheikh of Al-Azhar, Ahmad al-Tayyib, and the late Pope Shenouda of Alexandria. Headquartered in Cairo, the Egyptian Family House consists of Muslim scholars, clerics from the Coptic Church, representatives of various Christian faiths in Egypt, and a number of Egyptian intellectuals. The Egyptian Family House aims to preserve the fabric of Muslim-Christian unity within the Egyptian society by following a number of means to achieve this end, notably reaffirming the noble values and common characteristics between the various religions and cultures, establishing a new discourse that caters to the needs of the youth, as a pillar to moral and education to encourage peace and the rejection of hatred and violence, promoting cooperation and coexistence among citizens, monitoring and proposing preventive means to maintain social peace, and training imams and priests in various parts of the country to acquaint followers with other faiths to maintain social peace. The Family House works on promoting the Muslim and Christian values of compassion, empathy, and understanding, and upholding the principles of coexistence and tolerance. The Family House also aims to encourage the culture of peace and acceptance of others and counter hatred and violence.
Indeed, that is the secret of Egypt. And when we went to the report, you wanted to add something, Dr. Allam.
Yeah, about how Egypt was sought by Jesus himself and his holy and blessed mother as a safe refuge for against all forms of oppression and persecution. And according to historical reports, for nearly 3 years they stayed and they lived in Egypt. They were welcomed. They were free, of course.
They find in it the safe haven.
Exactly, yes. So this is very telling of the very essence of Egypt, and this is part and parcel of the Egyptian character and the Egyptian identity.
Getting back to the Egyptian identity, and
I know that you feel very emotional following this song.
Yes, that song was very emotional indeed, and it reflected our...
I liked it very much.
Yes, me too. I did not hear it before, so it was very, very impressive indeed.
Done, yes.
Let me here take the Egyptian family and the Egyptian family house. We need to know more about this, the idea from where it came and how it's doing, the role of it, what it is sending abroad, how it is promoting for what is going on in Egypt.
Yeah, I do think that it's very remarkable and very pioneering in its role. And I'd like to also to stress that I've been writing now an academic paper entitled Al-Azhar and the Church, a role model for peaceful coexistence for Muslims and non-Muslims in the West. So I'm basically highlighting the house of the Egyptian family as a key example of the togetherness and the close coordination, cooperation, and efforts that both parties are exerting in order to maintain the unity of the Egyptian social fabric, and also addressing any challenges at their very early stages to ensure that they would not ramificate or be exacerbated by any other external factors. As was mentioned in the report, it was an initiative by the current Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Hossam El Deen, and it was also, as I mentioned earlier, following the sad events that happened in Iraq and also in Egypt, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save all countries from such bad and negative incidents, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect all the people of Egypt and all the peoples of the world. So following this, the idea came, and when presented to Pope Shenouda III, may his soul rest in peace, he welcomed the idea, and from there they took it, and it was established officially in the year 2011, and ever since then it has been playing a role in bringing both together Muslim scholars along with their Christian counterparts and addressing issues of mutual concern. And I do think that the key role in how is it addresses any challenges that would arise in the society. So in coordination with the concerned ministries and the institution on the official level, along with the House of the Egyptian Family, they send delegations and address them in a very professional manner, and also in a way that emphasizes the unity of the people of Egypt, so that really they are doing their best to nib in the bud and emphasize on this expression any misunderstandings or any
misleading information or ideas about Egypt.
Yeah, and if anything that would even happen in any of the governorates of Egypt, not only in Cairo, I mean. So this is why, and this is a good thing here, that now it has been establishing also branches all over Egypt, from Alexandria to Aswan. You can find branches for the people, for the House of the Egyptian Family, and they are coordinating with the headquarters here in Cairo.
How does it work on strengthening the fabric or the Muslim-Christian fabric? I'm not speaking now about promoting Egypt and the tolerance in Egypt outside, but also working inside and in a way that would get both sides together.
Yeah, definitely. I do think that the very idea that there is an institution called Bayt al-Ala al-Masriya, or the House of the Egyptian Family, and it brings together Muslim and Christian scholars, and they address issues of mutual concern. Definitely, this is per se is a very strong and powerful message of this sense of togetherness and unity, and that together both they can address any challenges, any hazards, any risks, and they are able to come together and coordinate with the concerned institutions and ministries in the Egyptian state to address them in a way that is not in the traditional way of fighting, for example, or countering risks, because this societal and social aspect is very important when it comes to understanding the nature of the society. So you know, in some communities, it's not only the role of the police, for example, that would terminate and totally and comprehensively eradicate the root causes of the problem or the misunderstanding. But sometimes it's very important, and given the vital role of the deen or the faith or the religion, to address the root causes of the issue or the problem, in other ways, in order to transform the causes of any conflict. And this is a very important concept now when it comes to conflict transformation, and how to address issues at a very root level, so that they are not even in a position to grow later. But the point is, and this is what I do think from an international and diplomacy studies perspective, Bayt al-Ala, or the Egyptian house, or the family of the Egyptian house, is doing in this regard.
Dr. Allam, I myself am very much interested to know from you something.
Please.
I know that you are a member of the Egyptian house, the Egyptian family house.
As a volunteer, actually. But
yes, as a volunteer, indeed. But I know that you are a lecturer in the in Al-Azhar University. I need to know from you how difficult it is to speak with somebody or some youth, let's say, who has been brainwashed by extremism as the true essence, and how or what exactly, or how do you deal with such a situation?
Yeah, definitely it happens, and you know, it happens that there is this negative idea that, for example, in Islam it's not allowed to eat with Christians or from their food. But so when such misinformation or such ideas are promoted, and we know this is a very big security challenge when it comes to the cyber challenges, when it comes to the internet and the different platforms. And we have seen
unbelievable misleading information.
Exactly, I've seen how many groups, they try to transmit negative ideas and misconceptions in order to drive people apart. But the thing is, we need to be calm, we need to be embracing in our approach and present the facts. How is it Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, used to eat with and to dine with both Christians and Jews and people of other faith, and how is it he himself welcomed the people of the Church of Najran, not in any other place but in the mosque of the Prophet ﷺ. So showing these teachings and presenting them as right and bright facts, this is how we can counter such negative discourses and misleading narratives. Because I do think that the best way to address such challenges, such dark challenges and dark ideas and thoughts is by showing the truth and the truthful teachings, because they are the light, and only the light can dissipate the darkness.
Yes, indeed, I needed to understand, because simply, sir, we find it extremely challenging.
Definitely it is.
Because also those who are using this extremism ideology, they are dealing with the verses of Quran and with religious...
But let me say here, yes, it is true that they try to make it seem as if they are basing their
Yes.
misinformation on proofs. Misinterpreting and decontextualizing, and sometimes, and this is very often the case, they are fabricating.
Yes.
So this is why,
indeed.
and I highly praise here the words of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi tonight, when he said and emphasized the point that we always need to be aware, we always need to be vigilant and alert, because such attempts that would aim to target the cohesiveness of the social fabric of the Egyptian society, they will always be there. We know many reasons for the reasons behind always targeting Egypt. It's geography, its history, how important it is to the whole world and the balance of power when it comes to the whole world. So Egypt will always be a target. So we need to rest assured that we will always be faced by this challenge. So this is why we need to seek the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then always be aware and be alert.
Dr. Allam, also Egypt has been always exporting the real essence of Islam, the moderate essence,
Yes.
which is really the core of Islam. How are we doing that, and what are our thoughts and our measures in order to carry out with such a mission?
Yes, this is very important, and there is this growing even realization of the importance of Al-Azhar on the international arenas, and be it on the UN level, be it on other important United Nations related institutions and bodies. For example, I can cite here how, for instance, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, he asked for a fatwa from the Grand Sheikh of Al-Azhar regarding the permissibility of locking down mosques and public places of gatherings for even conducting prayers or any other faith-related events. And Al-Azhar responded to this, and Al-Azhar, represented in the board of senior scholars or Hayat Kibar Ulama, it gathered and it issued a clear fatwa in this, and this was appreciated by the Pakistani Prime Minister. So we can see how a Muslim country, which is known for its big number of Muslim population, and seeking a fatwa from Al-Azhar on a very critical issue, which is locking down mosques during the spread of COVID-19, and this was very recent. So my point is, there is this realization of how important Al-Azhar is, and also we can cite here the visit of the Crown Prince Charles to Cairo, and visiting Al-Azhar Mosque and meeting the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar and graduates from Al-Azhar who studied, by the way, in the UK, and now they are in Al-Azhar and still contributing, was building this intellectual and academic dialogue between academia in the UK and in the West in general,
Yes.
and here in Egypt and Al-Azhar. So this growing realization worldwide from both world leaders, policymakers, and intellectuals and academic circles reflects how important Al-Azhar is, and this growing appreciation of Al-Azhar and its established academic methodology and its voice as a necessary one. And I myself, I have been participating in many programs, including one with the United Nations or Alliance of Civilizations, and I have been working, for example, and through my program here at the Revelation with the director, my dear director Muhammad Fikri, we have been working and we have produced many episodes on how Islam stands when it comes to safeguarding places of worship.
And that has been very much emphasized by the president when he urged
Exactly.
scholars for more training.
Exactly. Yes.
I have only 1 minute remained
Okay.
for me here, and I need to ask you, what is Egypt sending as a message to the
Actually,
whole world?
Many peaceful and messages of tolerance, but I think the one that really stands out is that people should live together and always remember that what unites us as human beings is really far more powerful than anything that would drive us apart. And this is Egypt, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save Egypt and protect all the people of Egypt. And we wish and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this new year to be one that's filled with peace, security, and well-being for all human beings. And again, Happy New Year to all our fellow and dear Christian Egyptians and all Christians across the globe celebrating, and to all the people of Egypt.
Dr. Hossam El Deen, lecturer at Al-Azhar University, thank you so much for
My
being
pleasure.
with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for coming tonight. And I guess that takes us to the end of this episode. Let me here send from the land of peace, from Egypt, all peace, all tolerance to the whole world. Merry Christmas and enjoy this weekend. Many thanks for watching.